A little girl walked slowly down the brightly lit supermarket aisle, her small hand tightly held by a man beside her. To anyone passing by, it might have looked like an ordinary shopping trip, but something about her expression didn't match the normal scene. Her eyes were wide, searching, and her lips trembled slightly, as if she wanted to speak, but couldn't. Behind them, a police officer stood at the end of the aisle, casually observing. P wasn't there for anything unusual, just a routine presence. But then, he noticed the girl. As she turned slightly, she raised her hand, not in a wave, not in excitement, but in a strange, deliberate way. Her fingers folded in a pattern, then opened again. It was subtle, quick enough that most people would miss it. But the officer didn't. He had seen that signal before. It was a silent distress signal, a way for someone, especially a child, to ask for help, without alerting the person they were with. The officer's posture shifted instantly. Without causing panic, he began to move, keeping a careful distance as he followed them into the next aisle. The man seemed unaware, focused on grabbing items from the shelf, occasionally glancing down at the girl. The little girl didn't look back again, but her body language said everything. She stayed close, too close, her shoulders tense. The officer quietly spoke into his radio, requesting backup without drawing attention. Within moments, another officer entered the store from the opposite side. Timing was everything, as the man reached for something on a higher shelf, momentarily loosening his grip. The officer stepped forward calmly. "Hey there," he said, in a neutral tone, as if making casual conversation. "Everything okay here?" The man hesitated, caught off guard. Before he could respond clearly, the second officer approached from behind. The girl didn't wait. She quickly stepped away from the man and moved closer to the officer, her eyes now filled with a mix of fear and relief. That was all the confirmation they needed. The situation was handled swiftly and carefully, ensuring the child's safety first. Shoppers nearby barely noticed what had just unfolded. But for the little girl, everything had changed. Her quiet courage and that small brave signal had made all the difference. The supermarket returned to its normal rhythm within minutes, but for the little girl, nothing felt the same anymore. She stood quietly beside the police officer, her small hand now gripping his sleeve instead of the man's. Her breathing was still shaky, but there was a visible sense of relief in her eyes. "Hey, you're safe now," the officer said gently, lowering himself to her level. His voice was calm, careful not to scare her further. "Can you tell me your name?" She hesitated at first, glancing around as if expecting the man to come back. But when she saw he was no longer near, she softly replied, "Emma." The officer nodded reassuringly. "Okay, Emma, you did a very brave thing back there." Meanwhile, the other officer was speaking firmly with the man a few aisles away. The situation was under control, but the tension in the air hadn't completely disappeared. Emma slowly began to open up. She explained how she had been separated from her family earlier, and how the man had approached her, pretending to help. Something about him didn't feel right, but she didn't know what to do. She remembered a safety signal she had once seen. That small memory had just saved her. The officers quickly contacted store management and reviewed security footage. It didn't take long to confirm Emma's story. Soon after, an announcement was made over the store speakers, asking if any parent was looking for a missing child. Minutes later, a woman rushed into the aisle, her face filled with panic. The moment she saw Emma, she ran forward and pulled her into a tight embrace. "Emma, oh my God, where were you?" she cried, tears streaming down her face. Emma hugged her back just as tightly. "I was scared, Mommy." The officer stepped back, giving them space, but a faint smile appeared on his face. Moments like this reminded him why his job mattered. Before leaving, Emma looked back at the officer and gave a small wave, this time not a signal for help, but a simple thank you, and this time everything was truly okay. Just when everything seemed to calm down, the situation took an unexpected turn. As Emma held tightly onto her mother, one of the officers received a message through his radio. His expression changed, instantly serious, focused. He stepped aside, listening carefully. "What do you mean, he's not in the system?" he asked quietly. The man they had stopped had no clear identification. A strange silence filled the air. The officers exchanged glances. Something about this wasn't right. The man had tried to act normal, but now it was clear there was more to the story than they first thought. Emma's mother noticed the tension. "What's happening?" she asked, her voice slightly trembling. The officer gave a careful reply. "We're just verifying some details. You and Emma are safe. Don't worry." But Emma, still holding her mother's hand, looked back toward the aisle where everything had started. Her face grew serious again. "That's not the first time," she whispered. The officer leaned closer. "What do you mean, Emma?" She hesitated, then spoke softly. "I saw him before, near my school." Those words sent a chill through everyone nearby. The officers acted immediately. Backup was called, and the man was taken away for further questioning. The atmosphere in the store shifted once more. What had seemed like a small incident was now something much bigger. Later that evening, Emma and her mother sat safely at home. The lights were dim, and everything was quiet again, but this time it was a comforting silence. Emma rested her head on her mother's lap. "You were so brave today," her mother said softly, brushing her hair back. Emma looked up, her eyes still holding a hint of fear but also strength. "Was really scared." "I know," her mother replied, holding her close. "But you did exactly the right thing." There was a pause. "Will that man come back?" Emma asked quietly. Her mother tightened her embrace. "No, you're safe. I promise." Outside, the night stretched peacefully, but somewhere in the distance, police lights flash, continuing the work Emma had unknowingly started. That small signal, that quiet moment of courage, had not only saved her, but might have helped stop something far worse. Emma closed her eyes, finally at peace. And for the first time since it all began, she slept without fear.